What are you waiting for? Do it!
Do it!
Just do it!
Oh, we're about to
Yes,
do it,
you
Shaw.
can!
It's about to happen. It's about to happen, buddy. Just calm down, Shaw.
Dreams be dreams.
Calm down. It's gonna happen.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
We're gonna do it.
Just do it!
We'll do it, I promise. Yeah, time's up. How's everybody doing? We got 7 total. We got 5 on YouTube, 2 on Twitch. Main stream is at Twitch. I'm going to eventually stop doing restream. How's everybody doing this morning? What do you want to talk about with Pax Day? I have a couple things we'll go over. There's not a lot new. I don't know that we'll do a very long stream, but I'd like to continue with this schedule I have of doing these streams on Sundays, because it's the one time of the week that I have available the most often, I would say. So that is why I'm attempting to do it that way. How's everything looking with the sound? I'm going to turn down music a little bit more. In fact, I'm going to actually change the music. Let's find something different. Let's go to this playlist here. Anybody have any questions about PAX Day? You should start there. Anybody in the alpha already? Probably no one's in the alpha already, but if they were, they probably can't talk about it. There we go. Okay then. Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is we are going to talk about the recent announcements. And if you've watched my videos, you may have seen I'm going to be doing a building FAQ later this month. That is interesting. I did a little video on that. So we'll learn more about the building, which is obviously a huge part of PAX Day. So it's good to hear about that. And then we had some lore stuff, and I haven't even read through this yet. I saw it, but I didn't really read through it. I don't know if I want to read all this to you guys because I'm not sure I'd be able to pronounce everything properly. But we got some new art, which is cool. That almost looks like a siege weapon to me. Almost looks like a cannon of some sort, which PvP or me gets excited about. But so that's interesting. I need to read through this sometime. I'm not a big lore guy. You guys might know that I'm not a huge lore guy, so I don't get too excited about lore, but it is good that they're starting with the lore, because that's something that's fairly easy to talk about and without revealing too much about the game. And I think, and I've talked about this quite a few times, but I think it's difficult to start a new IP with an MMO project. I think if you want to start a new IP, it's easier to do something like an RTS or an RPG. Jumping straight into an MMO with a brand new IP. I mean, look at all the examples we've had over the years. We had WildStar shut down. Rift, it's going to be shut down probably someday. It's not doing very well, obviously. Kind of on life support. I'm trying to think of some others. You compare those two games, and I'm sure there's others that I can't think of right. Well, like, there's others like Shadowbane, a lot of kind of indie games like Shadowbane that have shut down. And then you have in comparison, games with established IPs like SWTOR. Now, was SWTOR drastically better than Rift? To me, no. To me, it wasn't. But it had that IP, and it brought in non-MMO players because of that IP. And so that's a big thing. And then WoW obviously had an existing IP that they had been developing for many years before WoW came out with the RTSs. And what else? Well, Elder Scrolls Online. Is it drastically better than what Rift or WildStar was? To me, no. But it had that very established, very popular IP. Then you look at like upcoming games, Ashes of Creation, Pax Dei, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. All new IPs. That's maybe one advantage that Camelot Unchained has, right? Is they do have an established IP, but they have no other advantages at all. So, long story short, I've rambled for a while, but they need to get their IP established with Pax Dei. And one way to do that is these lore drops and kind of get people excited about the lore and the IP. Now, they'll struggle to get me excited because I'm not too into lore. My thing was story, and people play games for story sometimes. And my thing is the story is never as good in a game as it is in a book or even in a movie. So if I want a good story, I'll read a book or I'll watch a movie. It's just kind of the way it is. Even then, I'm just not into stories. I'm a gamer. I'm into gameplay. So that's kind of where I'm at. However, I will read through this. It's short enough to read through. I'm not going to do it on stream, but if you guys would like to check it out, it's on the Pax Dei Discord. And I don't know if I have the link to this Discord, but you guys can find it. It's not too hard to find. And was that me? Oh, I'll hover over it and it does that. I have Nitro, and I have never had Nitro before. So seeing some different things. What else should we talk about with Pax Dei? This is probably going to be a short stream because there's not a lot to talk about. But again, just trying to keep with making a schedule when it comes to streaming, because again, this is the time that I definitely have available. You guys want me to play something funny for you guys? Let's see what we got here. You want duh winning?
Duh winning.
Winning! Which one else? What else should we do? You want to mean? You want to do know what I mean? Know what I mean? You guys know what I mean when it comes to lore and stories? I mean, are you guys into lore and story? I know that I got 6 people in the audience here. I got 4 on YouTube. I assume they're on YouTube, as I am streaming to some other platforms, but I have 2 on Twitch, and nobody's chatting. Are you guys into lore? Anybody that's any big lore buffs in the audience? No? All right. Well, like I said, I'm not huge into lore. There's been a few cases where I do kind of like the lore of Ashes Creation. I'm not going to lie. I think the story's pretty interesting. You're in the lore? Action Eku is into the lore. What kind of MMOs do you like in terms of lore and things like that? That's why you play RuneScape 3. Okay. No, that makes sense. No, I think a lot of people are, though. I think I'm an outlier. I think a lot of people are into the lore. So, I'm not so much, but it's not that I'm against it. Certainly enjoy some good lore. And I think it's important for an MMO to succeed to have good story, good lore. I do think that's important. Anything else you guys would like to discuss? What else do you like about, what other MMOs action have you played that you liked the lore and story? Besides RuneScape 3. Besides the lore, I recently updated and redid this video for April, and not a lot, I don't think a lot of new information has come out since then. So this is a pretty up-to-date list of all the information. We talked about the building of the world is done by both the players and the devs, but the players do a lot of the building. WoW and BDO. WoW has a fantastic lore. I'm not too up to date on the lore of Black Desert. However, it is a very popular MMO. It's one of the new, one of the few MMOs that established a new IP right off the bat and did well with it. And again, the link to this is, if you want Pax Dei Everything Known, that's the Pax Dei Everything Known for this video. The building, players build all the housing in cities and towns in the game. Buildings will get damaged and wear out, need to be repaired. There's room for everyone to build in the world. One of the interesting things that came out somewhat recently, let's see if I find it here. It's Valheim style building, so there's like structural limitations. Like you couldn't have an infinite ceiling without some support walls or support pillars, things like that. That's interesting. This is one of the more interesting things that's come out recently regarding the building. See if it goes to the right place. Somebody asked, does a plot have space around so we won't be overcrowded? And once joined, will that space add to plots? And Teika, one of the developers, says, I guess I can say that is how it works at the moment. You have a round plot, but when connecting it with another player, it fills out the corners of the connection, and in that way you have more real estate together. So, normally you have a round plot. You connect it to another player's and it becomes squared and you have more building space. So that is encouraging players to build together. Kind of a cool thing recently that we learned. Now, let's move on, and I want to look at the extended FAQ because I haven't looked at that in a while by Phoenix. And I want to see if there's anything new that has come out with that. I do appreciate that they added me in here. That is always nice. So let's see if there's any green, pink, or orange. How will player collision be handled? Any chance we get a maze dungeon? Music is too loud? Okay, thank you. Let me turn the music down. I'll turn it down on your guys' end. Should be a lot lower for you guys now. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Is that better? Let me know if that's better before I continue. Or somebody. It should be quite a bit better. There, I'll turn it down even further. It should be almost non-existent now. Yeah, okay. Yep, it's better. Okay. Any chance we get a... Thank you. Any chance we get a maze dungeon that is auto-generated interior and changes every few weeks? That's kind of new. Let's go to this one first. How will player collision be handled? Yeah, so the player collision, they made that change... They made a change. You guys may or may not have been aware. They made a change to player collision to where in the safe areas, player collision will happen if both players have a weapon out. Now, there's still no PvP, but they said that there was some issues and they had to remove the first implementation, but it's still the plan to get that to work. So, not really new information there. Let's see, what else? The maze dungeon. I guess that's the only things, huh? Those are the only two things. Yeah, it's really slowed down on the new information, which is fine. Yep. Any chance we get a maze dungeon that is auto-generated? That is auto-generated interior and changes every few days. Not at launch, at least. We'd like the dungeons to be complex, but also something you can master. Over time, with random generation, you won't have that mastery element. So no random generated dungeons like a Diablo or Path of Exile type ARPG. That's all we have for new information, guys. At least in the last 24 hours or so. So, not much else to go over with Pax Day. We're pretty short right now on what time do we have? Yeah, we've been going 15 minutes. Not very long. Not very long. We could transition to maybe some gaming for a bit, or we could call it a stream, unless somebody has some more discussion points they'd like to bring up. If you guys have not seen the extended FAQ, I will link that. It's definitely worth a read for sure. Let me take a little break and we'll figure out what we're going to do next. We'll put you guys on break for a second. All right, guys, let's get you some cowbell.
I gotta have more cowbell.
And if Bruce Dickinson wants more cowbell, we should probably give him more cowbell.
Say, baby.
Any other games you would like to talk about? We could also talk about Throne and Liberty, Ashes of Creation, Riot MMO. This new Perfect World. Perfect New World? Kind of a interesting name. I wonder if they're going to get in any trouble with New World over that one. But it used to be called Perfect World, the previous version, and now it's Perfect New World, their successor, I guess, to that game. And it looks interesting, but again, it's likely to be pay to win, most likely. This is what we know about that publisher. What else? So yeah, Ashes of Creation is still probably the one I'm most interested in, but Pax Dei, I'm putting right behind there. Throne and Liberty is a wild card. Just don't know, man, what's going to happen with Throne and Liberty. I'd love to be able to say, you know, Throne and Liberty is going to be great. We just can't say that yet. We just don't know anything. We know more about Pax Dei than we know about Throne and Liberty. We definitely know more about Ashes of Creation than we know about Throne and Liberty. Maybe the only upcoming MMO we know less about would be the Riot MMO. But definitely know a lot, or very little, about Throne and Liberty. However, I'm going to be covering it and following along with you guys. And if there's anything that I see that I don't like about TL, I will not be afraid to say it. So, waiting for the official delay for Throne and Liberty, so we can start waiting for the next delay. Absolutely. Thanks for the first time chat, AV Dance. TL's going to be paid to win. Yep. I would be shocked if it's not. But hey, it's a big new MMO release, and we haven't had one for a while, so I'll be playing it. I'll be covering it. How long I play, how long I cover, it's going to depend. It's going to be interesting if TL comes out and then, you know, if I happen to get a PAX Day Alpha invite, what choice I make there. Which one am I playing? I'll probably try to play both. Hey, Flavio. How's it going, Flavio? Have you been streaming at all? You been doing any chess? Or I'm thinking about hopping on some chess here in a little bit, actually, and streaming it. So, considering it. How's everything going for you? Yeah. Pretty good, man. I'm pretty good. It's just doing the YouTube thing mostly these days. You're watching the world. Is that going on today? Man, I haven't even been paying attention. Who's playing in it? Who's the two people in? I should check that out. Didn't Magnus Carlsen say he did not want to compete in that? It's somebody else now. Oh, yeah, just look it up. Ding versus Nepo, 3-3. Wow. Intense then, huh? But we actually get a competitive world championship for a change. Good. It's a good thing. Have any more matches today? Very decisive. Yeah. One game per day. I might be checking out that tomorrow then, or whenever the next one is. I did not even realize it was going on, to be honest. Been kind of in my own world, you know, doing my own thing, so haven't been paying attention to other stuff as much. But it's interesting for sure. My chess game has not gotten better at all, probably since the last time I talked to you. I don't don't put the effort in to get better, I guess. So I just kind of play chess, which just something to do, I guess. Played the London. Interesting. I thought they didn't play it at that level. But maybe he wanted to throw off Nepo, I guess. Yeah. Yep. Interesting. Just trying to throw him off, huh? Did he win with it? Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, they kind of shunned that opening which is kind of the opening I was using for a long time, but I've switched off of that opening. I used to be very passive and like play closed games, and I decided to completely switch that up and go very open games, and it's actually seems to be working for me to go more of an open, aggressive, not necessarily more aggressive, but more less closed, more open, where there's more tactics available. And it seems to be a better thing for me. London is a very closed, kind of passive style. And I don't do that as much anymore. Anybody else have any questions about Pax Dei or any of the other MMOs I mentioned? We've been talking chess for a while. Anybody else interested in chess? You want to see me stream some chess here in a bit once we get done with this? Let me know. He played a novelty on Move 8. Guess it worked in the end. He won out book on Move 8, huh? Interesting. I still see forget his name now. The guy I did a lesson with, I still see him streaming very consistently. I peek in for very brief periods of time, but I don't have a lot of time to watch his stream, but he's still after it. It's been played before, but at this level, I was kind of surprised. Interesting. I mean, it's interesting when you see that because, like, a lot of the world championships, they end up being just a lot of draws. People play very safe. There's not a lot of variety, but it's cool to see some change to that style. It's going to be interesting to have a new world champion, too. Nepo's been there how many times in a row now, and maybe he finally gets that. What have you guys been playing, Chad? Have you been playing any other games? What MMOs are you waiting for? Are you going to play Throne and Liberty? I'm assuming you're going to have drops for Throne and Liberty. It's his second attempt. Oh, okay. I guess it's only... Okay. It was only in the last one, then. I'm assuming Throne and Liberty is going to have drops, so that's why. One of the reasons I want to be on Twitch for that, but I'm considering YouTube or Kick as well. I don't know. I really don't know what platform I want to stream on, but I'm considering Kick, but we'll have to see about that. Seems like you could get in early on Kick potentially, but the flip side is Kick might not exist in 5 to 10 years if they run out of money, because I assume right now they're not anywhere near profitable. So 6 games, only 2 draws. Yeah, that's good. That's good to see. A lot more interesting that way. They'll kick you to the door. Kick will. Yeah. It's definitely, I don't know, it's a risk maybe to, where's the PAX hype? I'm hyped about PAX for sure. Exposure Twitch is the best. I wouldn't expect Tick to re-around even in 2 years. Yeah, that's true. It's a risk. But at the same time, what if it does take off, right? Then you're in early. You just don't know. We don't know how much seed funding they've had and things like that. Hikaru also streams on Kick, but not so much chess streams there. Yeah, I saw his one chess stream he did there. Yeah, I mean, you could always do both, right? Always do both. I'm using Restream to stream to Kick right now. I'm actually on Kick right now. See if anybody's watching me on Kick. Just curious. Yeah, no viewers on Kick right now. Of course, I do have World of Warcraft as my channel. Yeah, it's kick.com/RiveGenesis. You could be my first follower on Kick. That'd be exciting. I think I have, no, I don't have the alerts. It does not work yet with Stream Elements, the alerts for Kick, but I'm considering doing some streams there just to see if I can get anywhere with that, but who knows? Who knows? Oh, I have one follower now. I assume that's Flavio there. Thank you for the follow. Oh, thanks, buddy. Thank you. PAX Day hype. I'm excited for it. Like I said, PAX Day, to me, is right behind Ashes of Creation in terms of the MMO I am most interested in at this point. And the way it's going, we could see PAX Day before Ashes, because PAX Day, I think they have a very big development team. They're highly experienced. And I think it's a simpler project than Ashes is. So we could see PAX Day sooner. Might be playing the alpha sooner for sure. So that I'm excited about. And like I said, it's going to be interesting if Throne of Liberty launches. Let's say I'm playing it for like a month, streaming, talking about it, doing YouTube videos, and then I get the alpha invite for PAX Day. What choice do I make? I think there's a good chance I'm just jumping into that alpha. Even if I can't stream it or do videos on it, if I'm under NDA, because I don't think that Throne of Liberty is going to have longevity. Of course, we don't know, but we still know anything about Throne of Liberty. That's the weird thing about Throne of Liberty. But PAX Day, the more I learn about, the more excited I get. I know some people are worried about, because that's just, yeah, I get that. Well, I'm biased because it's Western developed, and Western developers, I'd like to say they've been better with the monetization, but I don't know that's always been the case. But you look at like New World, for instance, it was very fairly monetized. Until recently, they did add some mild pay-to-win to it, but still really good monetization. Now, they failed in many other areas, almost every other area, but they did okay with the monetization, at least at the start, right? So, yeah, Western developed, I think, is a big deal. Like, that's, Ashes of Creation. They get bonus points for that, obviously, and Riot MMO gets bonus points in my eyes because they're Western developed. So that's all a big thing. And yeah, I'm just very interested overall in PAX Day. One, because it's Western developed, and two, because it's a sandbox in a fantasy. It's basically EVE Online in a fantasy universe. And I've always said I'm not as into lore and story. I do prefer the fantasy setting over the space setting of EVE. All European. Yep. Yeah, they have like 3 studios. They have the one in, I think it's in Iceland, right? And then they have one, I think, in like France. Could be wrong, but And there's a third one somewhere else in Europe too, if I remember right. Interesting that they have 3 different studios. I mean, they have a lot of money. Finland, Iceland, and France. Okay. Yeah. Yep. That sounds right, and that's exciting. Pulling people from all over, and you get different perspectives, and they have a lot of experience. There are a lot of them were involved with EVE Online, which is one of the more successful sandbox MMOs of all time. Albion's been pretty successful. Obviously, RuneScape's been incredibly successful. Yeah, the studio, yep. Yeah, and I think I have that. We could jump over to that screen. Let's see here. Let me pull it up first. Here's the development team. We could look at that first. Here's the development team. Here's the Twitter. I do have a Twitter list if anybody wants to follow that. Here's the Twitter list. Let me see. Can I just copy this link? Copy link address. Paste that in there. I don't know how well that's going to work, but I assume that link worked for you guys. Thanks for the follow, Aberrat. Appreciate you. The follow on Twitch. So there, if you want to follow the devs that are active on Twitter, there's not a lot of them active on Twitter. And here's the little team list that I made, and this is on my website on this page. I'll paste that in. Nope, I messed that up. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Here's the development team. Obviously, Thor is kind of the main one there. Thor Gunnarsson. Great name. They have great names in Iceland and in Finland. Juicy is fairly active on Twitter. So here you see all their Twitters as well. And there's a few blogs here, like ArtStation links as well. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything new on Mr. Ericsson's. Ericsson with the EI. I don't know how you say that, but he's in Iceland, and here's his ArtStation. Lead concept artist at Mainframe since September 2019. See if he's got any art here. I think some of this is Pax Dei art here. Got some R-rated stuff. Dwarf Fortress. Do you think that's Pax Dei? I don't know. I don't think that'd probably be Pax Dei. Oh, it's a fan art created for the game Dwarf Fortress. Here, I'll give you guys the link to this because I'm sure some people are curious. This is one of the Pax Dei developers' art stations. Let's see. See if he's labeled this one. It could be Pax Dei there. I don't know. Paint Man? Oh, whoa. Whoa. Got a little surprise there. Pax Dei? I don't know. I don't know if any of this is Pax Dei, but it's interesting. Let's see if there's any other art stations here. Let's see. Let's look at Roel Greven Dunk. Let's check out his art station. See if we got anything here for him. This all does not look like Pax Dei. This is from Quantum Break. But you can see they have some talented artists for sure. Unreal Development Kit. That's interesting. Cool little glider. Flying boat. A flying boat hideout. Let's look at Laura Koekoek. Let's see what she's got for her portfolio. Think this is Pax Dei? Probably not, I would say. This is UE4 and they're on UE5. Just a little demonstration of what our capabilities are, I assume. Probably not Pax Dei, I would assume. But again, you can see talented developers. Houdini engine. Let's be able to plug in for Unreal, potentially. Nothing really in the art stations there. But, again, if you guys would like to check this out, you're welcome to check this out. That's the development team. What else? I was going to look at... Well, here's all their Discords, if anybody is interested in that. We're going to look at the team. Do I put on there that... No, I did not put where they're located, but I have read that before, that they have three different studios. So that's interesting. What about you guys? Where would you rate Pax Dei? Would Pax Dei be the one MMO you're most interested in? Or is there some other MMO that, let's play some Taz Devil for you guys? Forgot I made that one. Want the Wookiee one? I don't think I did as good a job on the Wookiee one. You guys like that? I liked it. I don't care if you guys didn't like it. I liked it. Nice! They liked it. You want the oh yeah, buddy?
Oh yeah, buddy.
That's an old one. That's a pretty old one. Let's do Taz Devil again. I like that one. You guys know about the Tasmanian Devil? I hope so. Now you do, for sure. Now you know about Taz Devil. You gotta have something to keep the stream entertained, you know? I don't always have that kind of energy, you know? I'm getting kind of old, so just have to record it for when I do have the energy, you know? There's David Goggins telling you to stay hard.
Stay hard.
Yeah. There you go. We'll do this one.
Do it! Just do it!
Do it! Alright, that was fun. You guys having fun with that? We all are getting old. Every day we get one day older. This is science. Can't get around it. You cannot get around science. Yeah, let's do Taz Devil one more time. That's a good time. I enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I find it funny. Few months and 31. Yeah, I'm well over 40. So. I'm pretty old in terms of gamer years. Definitely beyond my prime, for sure. Well, guys, how long have we been at it here? We got over a half hour, so I promised you guys at least a half hour of this stream. But, again, I'm very hyped for Pax Dei. If you guys follow me over on Twitch. Yeah, 54 minutes. I had a 10-minute timer at the beginning where I didn't do anything, and I had some breaks in there, so we did at least 30 of actual live stream. So that's pretty decent, I would say. So here is the Twitch. If you guys would like to follow me over there, you're welcome to. Because I don't know how much longer I will keep doing. Restream. There's a cost involved with it. And also have kick.com/RiveGenesis. I probably should put a, if you guys want to follow me there, because, you know, I might consider doing some streams over there exclusively at some point. I don't know. What kind of expectations do you guys have for Pax Day? That's a good question. I have fairly high expectations because I've not seen any reason to not have high expectations yet. The only negative I've really seen of Pax Day is the potential, you know, pay-to-win type stuff with Plex. If they do have a Plex system that does introduce a form of pay-to-win. However, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to have that, and I don't know what level of pay-to-win they will have there. We don't know, I guess, right? I'm also on Trovo, I guess. So I'm on Trovo as well. I guess if you guys are interested in Trovo, I could go get a follower over there on Trovo too. I probably will never stream on Trovo exclusively, but you know, I do have the plan where I can stream to 5 places at once. So it's kind of something I'm doing to try to grow the channel, kind of spread myself around and kind of explore the different streaming platforms. Yeah, I would say I try to, when it comes to like new MMOs, I try to keep my expectations in check because we've had a lot of disappointments over the years. But I'm not seeing any reason to not be excited yet about Pax Day. I don't think it's a problem at all to be excited about a project. I mean, people say, don't hype this, don't hype that. What's the harm? Well, what harm really comes from that? I don't completely understand where the harm is. Yeah, well, I think what it reminds me of Action Echo is it is like if you ever played New World when it was in alpha state, that's kind of what it's like in theory. It's kind of that because New World in the early alpha was a sandbox with building with, well, full loot, but I don't think they're going to have full loot in Pax Day. Maybe in some areas, but not in every areas. See if I can find the alpha footage. I might not be able to find you anything that's real representative of what it once was as a game. But yeah, New World had that full action combat. The combat didn't really change, but they got away from full loot. In PvP, they really dumbed the PvP down, made PvP kind of inconsequential. But you had building, you had all kinds of things. Dang, 47? Yeah, you're older than me. Not by a tremendous amount. But definitely older. But a lot of us MMO gamers, we're older. That's just how it is, right? That's just how it is. This is from 4. I'm trying to find you guys some footage of like the building systems from the old alpha. Everything was a lot of, well, not everything, but a lot of things were built by the players. So, like here, for instance, we'll go over like this. So you had this territory. If you look at the top right here, you had this unclaimed territory. You could claim territories and then you build on it. Like this here. I believe that might have been the settlement that was made by the devs. Some settlements were made by the devs, but a lot of the building was done by the players. So this could be a player-made settlement here. So really, yeah, it's kind of like, really is kind of like what New World was originally intended to be, which was a sandbox PvP. Yeah, so this is a sanctuary that was made by the developers. So they had these scattered throughout, and I got to play this. I got invited very early to the alpha testing and enjoyed it. I enjoyed the game back then. Now, the full loot PvP always on everywhere was a little bit maybe too much. I guess, you know, they could have toned that down, made some PvE only zones, and maybe make the PvP areas, you know, not full loot. Maybe you drop one piece or maybe some other consequence. Instead, they gutted all that. They gutted the building. They gutted the sandbox elements, made it full theme park, and it ended up being, I mean, frankly, a joke of a game. Even to this day, it continues to lose players, and I just don't have much interest in the game. I played it at launch, but it's just a soulless game. And I just, you know, everybody always says, well, all MMOs struggle at launch, you know, and they're improving. Sure, that's true. There's no way to deny that. However, it was one of the worst launches I've ever seen. So if you're using that excuse for New World, it just doesn't work for me because it's just a terrible launch. It had copy-paste structures everywhere. Everything was copy-paste. It had no soul. It had no identity. Yeah, all they had to do is switch around. And yeah, I hate the combat in terms of how locked in place you are when you use abilities. I hate root motion. I want more freedom of movement. And I also want, this is maybe one concern I have with Pax Dei. I like having a fair amount of skills. Even with action MMOs, I like having a decent number of skills on my bar. But it doesn't have to be, you know, because it's action, it doesn't have to be 20 skills, but Guild Wars 2 is kind of a hybrid tab action. It has 15 and a few more actually when you include it's closer to 20 on a lot of characters. And then of course you can switch, you know, and get more skills that way, switch weapons. But at any one given time, it's like 15 to 20 active depending on the class. I hate the action MMOs like New World where you have 3 skills and they all have high cooldowns. So really you're spamming left click like all the time, right? And I find that not really fun, especially with New World with the rooting in place while you're using abilities. I just cannot stand that. So, and a lot of people say it's got great combat. I don't agree. I think the combat's not good. Like just putting action combat in a game just doesn't automatically make it good. That style of combat works pretty good in Elden Ring, Dark Souls. I don't think it works good in an MMO. The rooting in place. Action's fine. There's nothing wrong with action per se. It's just the rooting in place. That's the issue for me. But yeah, so it's kind of like what this game was once at one time. Oh, wait. I got to go back. So here they are. They're building. All right, so here they are. They come up to this Azure Fissure, and they start building a Azalt Well. So that's one of the player-built structures in the world. I think you had to put like an assault well down maybe, and then you could build around that. Something like that. Like there was set places where you could build. It wasn't freeform. Like Pax Dei is going to be fully freeform. Yeah, BDO has great combat. Yeah, BDO is kind of action-ish and very good combat. One of the best. Most people view it as one of the best, if not the best. For me, like in terms of, I've talked about this before, but some of you guys may not have seen it. My favorite type of action, well, my top MMO combat systems, I'd put Guild Wars 2 number 1 because it's got that tab action hybrid, and it's so smooth and fluid. It's a little too floaty, I guess, would maybe be one negative of it for me. They need maybe some rooting with some of the skills instead of like being able to like swing a big huge axe and just move freely is kind of awkward. You can see this is alpha, so yeah, the stuff is stuck, and yeah. Of course, even by launch they had stuff like this. They never fixed a lot of these things. But the other thing, yeah, so Guild Wars 2 I put number 1 in terms of combat. Then I would go for action. I actually think WildStar had the best action combat. Now, there's some things that needed, if they would have been around longer, they would have fixed. There was some clunkiness with certain systems, but you had that free movement. It wasn't impossible to land your skills because you had the telegraph system, and a lot of times you had a fairly wide cone on the ground. It's fairly easy to hit, but you could still miss, especially in PvP. It was possible to miss. That's one thing with New World, like with the ranged, the precision you have to have is so high, and if you have any kind of lag, it just makes it tough. And that's why, like in PvP, a lot of people go melee because it's just easier to land your stuff. It's hard to balance that. And Pax Dei, the way they've described it, or if you suck at aiming, and I kind of suck at aiming. The way they've described, so this is maybe a player-built structure. Yeah, see how it has it's the order of hops. They built it. They built everything in this area. So this is kind of what Pax Dei is going for in a way. Is this, and now there's going to be some limitations on where you can build things, but not nearly as much as, with what New World Alpha had. Because New World kind of restricted where you could build and things like that. Pax Dei will have less of those, but there's still going to be some limitations. So really, you guys are getting a preview of Pax Dei right here. Some aspects of it. You even had building, like you could level up your building skills. So WildStar number 2 in terms of combat. And then you have, for me, and this is all my personal preference, I would probably put BDO 3rd, Terra 4. And I still think, I don't mind tab, and I think, WoW has the best tab. So I put that at 5 in terms of combat, best combat in an MMO. Those would be my top 5. Guild Wars 2, WildStar number 2, number 3 BDO, number 4 Terra, and number 5 WoW. That's where I'd put them. And combat's important. No, it's not the only thing. But it's the system you interact with the most. So that's part of the reason I never really got into EVE that much was the combat. But if I was to prefer one or the other, I would prefer tab over action, just because action's not really been implemented that well in a lot of MMOs. Terra would be higher in terms of action, except it had a lot of rooting in place, and it's like New World. Like Terra and New World had similar combat, except Terra's was a much better version. All these storage were all built by the players. Big, huge storage chests they could build. It was, it was more like a survival game. Even you had food and you had health and you had hunger meters. Now, Pax Dei has said they are not going to have hunger and thirst meters. Their food is more for buffs and things like that. But yeah, New World, man, I think it would be, I'm almost certain if they would have stuck with this design and just improved it, they would have more players right now. They would. Now, remove some of the full loot. Don't have full loot everywhere. Maybe have some zones that you drop a couple pieces, possibly. But make most of the zones less punishing in terms of PvP. But make PvP beyond. And you could drop materials. And no dropping of items, I think, would be. But you could drop materials. Like, drop some of the materials. A percentage. Maybe you have some zones where you drop no materials. And you have some zones where you drop, kind of like Eve, where you have the different security levels of zones. Make it like that. Now, in Eve, you still drop it, but there was security. But you just make it to where, or Albion, with their zone-based system. Where some zones you're safe, some zones you're definitely not safe. You could have maybe a few full loot areas. That might be fine, as long as it's not completely required to go to those areas. But you also give some benefits to going in those areas. Yes, you had powder kegs they could make and blow up walls of other structures, which was cool. The game was really cool back then. I'm telling you, it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I played it a lot back then. And then they just completely changed it out of nowhere. It didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. It was, your typical sandbox survival style game, but it had more MMO features than a lot of sandbox style games. These sandbox games do really well. I don't know why they thought it was going to fail, and I don't get it. Yeah, you had the repair and demolish structure options when you hovered over. A lot of cool stuff. Game was cool back then. Yeah, have designated PvP areas. Absolutely. They could have done that. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what this is. I don't remember what that is. Looks like they maybe were trying to build something and then canceled it. I don't know. But it's a cool game back then. It really was. And it's just a soulless game now. I don't have any interest in New World. I've tried to play it. I just don't enjoy it. It's too hard of a pivot, man. That close to launch, and they made this huge pivot, and it didn't work. It did not work out. So, well, we stretched out the stream a little further there, showing you guys the New World Alpha, because it's, this is similar to what Pax Dei is projected to be like. This is the top of the hour. We have a couple options here. We could start talking about what I'm planning for this week. I haven't been making a lot of videos in the last week because I've had some technical issues that should be resolved this week. Got a new part on order, and we'll get those resolved, and we'll get on to some new videos. What videos am I working on for this week? Do I have any Pax Dei videos? I don't believe I have Pax Dei videos. I'm pretty caught up on Pax Dei and all the new information. If you haven't seen my Everything Known About Pax Dei video, it's linked in the description of my YouTube. It's on my YouTube. Let's see, I have it right here. Let's copy this. If you have not seen this, it's certainly the most up-to-date. Did that work? Yeah. Let's get that correct link here. Here's the Pax Dei Everything Known video. It's going to be the most accurate and up-to-date on YouTube currently. Up to 2,600 views on that. Decent. For me, that's pretty good. So definitely watch that if you have not watched that. That's going to be the quickest way to get up to speed on this game. And then from there, my website pretty much is a copy of that, but it'll have all the links. So my website, if you do exclamation point PD, is Pax Dei Everything Known website. It'll have that video linked at the top, and then basically it's my script almost for the YouTube video. And you can go through that, and all the links are there where I got all the information. So you can do that. And then what else? So what videos do I have this week? Let me look at, I don't even remember off the top of my head. Let me look at what videos I have for you guys coming up this week. Where's it at? There it is. So I'm on the lookout every day for Throne of Liberty news. If we get any information on that, I'll be doing a video on that. I did the top 5 instanced MMOs this week already. My next video that I'll be starting on Tuesday after I get this part in is called Little Known Things About Ashes of Creation, the top 10 things you might not know about Ashes of Creation. And then I'm going to do a video, probably be Thursday or Friday by the time I get that out. I'm going to talk about the 3 unannounced MMOs that nobody's talking about. And ArenaNet potentially is working on a new MMO. Not a lot of people are talking about that. Amazon actually is potentially working on a new MMO. And I say potentially because with both of these, because we're not sure, but there's some job descriptions that suggest a new MMO for both of these companies. No confirmation yet. And then ZeniMax is working on a new MMO. That is basically confirmed. And let's see here. If you go to here, I've already done a video on the ZeniMax. What do I think about Quinfall? Let's go look at Quinfall here. Let me show you what I think about Quinfall. Let me ask you this. What do you think about Quinfall? I want to be excited about Quinfall. I really do. It looks interesting, right? It really does look interesting. It might be easier for me just to play the video for you guys, and I'll go take a quick break while I play this. This will explain this here. I'll paste it in the chat. That's my Quinfall video. I will play that for you guys. And we will take a break. I'm going to put this other screen on for a second. Let's put on chat for a second while I get this video over. And Yep, that's the wrong chat. See that chat? Now let's get this video over on the correct screen. And this one. Pause this one. Sorry, I'm a little unorganized here. It's pretty shady. Yep, basically. Unmute it. I'm going to turn the music off here. And let's make sure this is all working. Let's go to this one. And I can take my... Oh, that's not my webcam on. That's me with the webcam on the video. Okay. We're at the beginning. We got to turn the volume up here. Actually, I got to turn this browser source up. Let me know if this is too loud, guys. I've gone back and forth quite a bit on whether I wanted to even do a video on this new MMO Quinfall that everybody's talking about. They're making some really bold claims. When I first saw the trailer, I'll admit I was interested because it's the type of game that interests me. It shares a lot of features of Ashes of Creation, Throne and Liberty, those sort of open world games where the open world matters, a very huge world and things like that. However, when you start to dig into the details and get beyond the trailer, there was a lot of red flags. Definitely a lot of red flags. Some people were calling it a scam. Some people were calling it vaporware. After doing further research the last few days and seeing some of the responses by the devs, including this tweet where they talked about they are not going to sell access to their game, at least for the beta. In the future, if they would ever sell access in the current state the game appears to be in, I would call that a red flag and start to consider it a scam. But as is, I would not say there's enough evidence to say this game is a scam. But certainly I think they're way, way over their heads in terms of ambition. And I still have a lot of concerns about whether this game will ever release with all these features they're saying, or if they'll have to strip so many features out that it won't be a very good game. And so anyways, let's get into it. First, I want to show you guys this video, and I'm going to link it in my description. I just watched this video before I started recording, and I think it answers a lot of the scam questions that people had in terms of they're not selling beta, in terms of there's no NFTs and things like that, because in the description they talked about a meta world and things like that. I think it answers a lot of those questions. However, still a lot of concerns from me about this game. One of them, we're going to talk about a little bit later, but there's a lot of asset flipping, and the world might be very large, as they're saying, but it's not the biggest world. It's not the biggest MMO world we've ever seen by any stretch. It's definitely going to be one of it's going to be one of the bigger MMO worlds for sure, but not the biggest. That's a huge claim. And even still, they're going to have a huge world, but it is so empty in a lot of this footage. And we don't see a UI ever at any point in this footage, which leads me to believe it could just be CGI and not even in-game footage. Now, they do say, yes, in-game footage, but I don't know if I believe that if we're not going to see a UI. The Steam page, they make a lot of bold claims here. This is something that I find odd. This has got a planned release date of 2023, and I'm going to show you in a little bit that the company was founded in 2021, so that is also a pretty big claim. And again, even in these screenshots, you just see just a barren, empty world. And with Unity, there is a tool where you can procedurally generate land, and you could probably generate a 2016 square kilometer map, which is the size that they're saying is the world's largest MMORPG map. 2016 square kilometers. Not true, because Lord of the Rings is 77,000 square kilometers. Guild Wars 1 really isn't an MMO per se, but it's also like 28,000. I'll show you that in a little bit. And just everything looks very placeholder and store-bought assets. So I think they maybe just cranked something out really quick to try to drive interest. And at first I thought they were doing this just to sell themselves for early access, and I still wonder whether that's not ultimately the case. What they are saying is there's a closed beta planned, but they still have a planned release date on Steam of 2023, which seems impossible considering they started in 2021. On their official Discord, this guy compiled a list of all the features, incredible amount of features. At the top, he says they have 54 employees. I'm going to show you in a little bit. LinkedIn only shows 6. Now, does that mean there's only 6 and there's not 54? I don't know, because maybe in Turkey, people don't use LinkedIn. I have no idea. And people in general are not using LinkedIn near as much as they used to like 5-6 years ago. So maybe beta in 2023. 100 facial muscles and bones you can customize in the character creator. 11 different professions. The map. It seems to be the biggest MMO again, it's not the biggest MMORPG map. The weather, a pretty intricate weather and seasonal system and day-night cycle. Think about Throne and Liberty. Think about Ashes of Creation. They're trying to do many of the same things here. This was not in the trailer, so for PvP buffs like myself, there's like guild islands that you can capture. and you have to defend them, and there's guild wars. And also about the PvP, I read in this Discord that kind of like Black Desert Online, there's like a PvP server and a PvE server, and you can jump between the two. So if you like PvP, you go on the PvP server. If you want to just PvE, you can do that as well and not have to worry about PvP. All these things are like interesting to me. This is why I really hope, first of all, I definitely hope it's not a scam. I'm leaning towards it's not a scam, but I definitely am worried about the competency of the devs. I'm worried that they don't have a team big enough to accomplish this. We have no idea on funding, but they're saying they have enough funding. That's why they're not going to sell early access and things like that. But we shall see. And I asked about the 54 employees, and it was only 5. Yes, now they have 6 on LinkedIn. They're saying on Instagram they have 54. Okay. Biggest MMO RPG maps. Lord of the Rings basically is number 1 with this size, 77,000 square kilometers. I don't really consider this an MMO. I guess technically it is, and I really don't consider Minecraft an MMO, but I guess technically some people might consider it that. Asheron's Call would technically be smaller, and Guild Wars Nightfall would technically be bigger. So technically, yes, it's a huge map. Their LinkedIn, founded in 2021. And they're saying 51 to 200 employees, but we see 5 here. You go here, you see the employees. Most of these are like CFO, founder, game manager. You don't see, there's a writer, there's a 3D artist. This to me suggests, I haven't seen a single programmer, I haven't seen a single actual developer other than the 3D artist. They may have just had the artist create all this stuff for the demo, and it's a little sketchy. This is the founder. He founded this company actually technically in 2019. And I was doing some digging in the Discord. He apparently made a MMO kind of by himself called Karya Online, Karya. I tried to dig up information on this. There's not much out there other than nobody plays it anymore. So he's very young. This is his first employment ever that he's got listed on his LinkedIn. And maybe that's, why we're seeing these big, bold claims, because, he doesn't have experience in the industry except for his own company. They have a website. You can sign up for beta. I signed up. Maybe I shouldn't have, but you don't get an email response when you sign up. There's this interesting little thing. You can decrypt the runes. It doesn't do anything. So, this is from the gameplay trailer. And again, just look at how empty everything is in the biome. No UI ever at any point. And again, everything just looks very generic. Looks like stock assets or store-bought assets. They have naval combat. And again, huge scope. They want to have like arcade-style naval combat. And they have basically, I should have pulled up the Kraken from Arcade, because that's basically the boss. They're just copying like bosses from basically in the Throne and Liberty trailer. We've seen several times that sandworm boss. So they apparently wanted that in their game too. So they just bought it off the Unity store. And to be fair, I don't have a problem with an indie developer buying store-bought assets. That's what they're there for. It's not really a problem. It could be a problem if they tried to raise funding via crowdfunding. That could be a problem, because there are a lot of companies that have done that. You buy a sandworm for $40 and you sell a bunch of packs for $50, And anyways, that's my thoughts on this game. I hope it's not a scam. I don't necessarily think it's a scam after thinking about it for a few days and doing further research. But I think that they might be in over their head in terms of the scope. It's just a massive scope. So it's certainly not going to reach in 2023. It's not the biggest map. They're making a lot of incorrect claims with what they're saying. So I will keep my eye on this game. I don't anticipate I'm going to pay close attention to this game, but I'm going to keep my eye on it and see maybe they can correct some of the mistakes they've made. That is my thoughts on Quinfall.
If you like the video, subscribe.
Yeah, go subscribe to me. That's my thoughts on Quinfall, guys. It's not going to get on my website anytime soon. I could tell you that much. It's not going to make it onto my website anytime soon. You never know. You never know. Maybe it'll eventually be a thing, right? Maybe eventually we'll get that to be a thing. But I just, the big thing, I don't remember exactly all the things I talked. Thank you, Arquinista, for the follow. I don't remember exactly all the things I talked about in that video. Arquinista, thanks for the follow again. Here, let me give you a little thing since you followed. Here you go. There we go. A little Taz for you. I would say that, yeah, I don't have high faith. The biggest thing for me is the 6 employees on LinkedIn. And they used Unity. And with Unity, you can procedurally generate terrain. And that's what they did. They procedurally generated some terrain. They bought a few store-bought assets, made a cool looking trailer. They have some very base. They have like 3 or 4 skills they made on a couple classes. And you go, here you go. We got a game, guys. And it's just not, it's not there. It's not a game. It's them putting out something to try to drive interest. And they did say, we're not going to sell early access. We're not going to do this, do that. Or we're not asking anybody to pay. I think eventually they are going to. I could see it happening. They're eventually going to ask for money. It's just what happens with these games. They're planning to launch on Steam, I believe. Maybe I'm getting I know Pax Day is. I can't remember. I believe Quinfall is planning to be on Steam too. The Quinfall Steam. Yeah. They're planning to be on Steam. So, I could see them. And somebody said their 2023 beta test is not happening. Big surprise there. Somebody recently said that in the Throne of Liberty Discord. I don't see that happening. It's just all store-bought. It's procedurally generated. You look at the terrain, you can see the procedural generation, even in these videos. I mean, just look out over here. There's just nothing there. It's sand and a few trees. It's procedurally generated. It's not even, a human had nothing to do with the way they built this. So to me, it's just, hey, J-Rock, welcome to the stream. I'm probably close to finishing. I got to get some housework done this weekend. My lower back was hurt all weekend, so I didn't get any housework done all weekend. I got to mow. I got some stuff to do in the yard. So stream's probably close to over, but we're talking about the Quinfall currently because it was asked about. I showed them my video on the Quinfall, and I don't have high. Yeah, at work. Oh, good to see you, man. Good to see you. But yeah, you look at like Quinfall, you look at the videos, and you just see, like, look at this. Look at this environment. Nothing. Like, literally nothing. I know WoW has like a zone like this, and some MMOs have. The deserts usually are not that exciting. Nothing new about Quinfall, and really nothing new about Pax Dei, J-Rock. Even this mountain in the back, just nothing on it. It's all procedurally generated. There's nothing excited. Well, somebody said the only new thing about Quinfall is somebody saying this 2023 planned release, they've already pushed back the beta until next year. I'd have to jump in their Discord to see that for myself, but like this, man, it's just nothing here. It's like there's no soul to this environment, but it's clearly procedurally generated. There's no structures. It's just, yeah, it's like, what is going on, man? Even this dungeon looks procedurally generated. The sandworm in that video I showed where they bought that on the Unity store. Yeah, I don't have high hopes for Quinfall. I really don't. But hey, who knows? Maybe they'll prove me wrong. You never know, right? You never know with these things. But who knows? Do I have Quinn? I'm pretty sure I'm in the Quinfall Discord. Where is the Quinfall Discord? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not in the Quinfall Discord. There it is. Let's see, do you have any announcements? First of all, we're grateful. That's old. I hope everything was all right with them, but they had a bad earthquake in Turkey, and this is a Turkish developer, so I hope everything was all right with them, but it sounds like they had some issues as well. They closed their website temporarily. Interesting. Yeah, the website had issues when you registered for the beta. Yeah, I need to prune more, and I have some in folders, but not all of them. Like this is in a folder. I have some folders, but I need to do more folders. And yeah, I need to get out of probably some of them. Last Saturday, we asked you to submit questions to our development team. Here we share some of the... So in the end of March, they said closed beta towards the end of 2023. No Necromancer class. PvE or PvE channels. I guess kind of like what BDO does, maybe? I don't know. New AI advance. No AI, maybe. Who knows? What was the maximum level? 50. You able to get to 100 grade. It's not a class system. It's a weapon choice system. More rewards in the PvP channel. It would be nice to see the mechanics. We're not planning to include instant death mechanic. The Guild Islands, I remember them talking about that. Does your game have a dungeon system? This is all probably older stuff. Okay, I don't see anything about beta being delayed. Beta. Yeah, I see nothing about it being delayed. Somebody had said that. Who knows? Probably is delayed. Probably is delayed, but I'm not seeing it here. I'd be shocked if they have anything in 2023 that's even remotely playable. It just doesn't look like it's got a great chance to succeed unless they have a bunch of funding and they can bring in a bunch of new developers, because they just don't have a lot of developers to begin with. So, well, with that, guys, it's kind of slowed down. I'm dropping viewers here. We've kind of ran out of things to talk about. We talked about Quinfall a little bit. Talked plenty about Pax Day. A little bit about Throne and Liberty. I guess the question for the remaining viewers is, what game do you want to talk about next week? We've talked about Throne and Liberty last week. This week we did Pax Day. Do we want to do Ashes of Creation next week? We might. When is the live stream for Ashes of Creation? It will be not this week, but it'll be next week. So it might be better to do that on the 30th We'll do the Ashes one on the 30th. We'll have more to talk about. And then next Sunday, the 23rd, we could do Riot MMO. We could do... what else could we do? We could go back and do Throne and Liberty again. Maybe we'll do the Riot MMO next week. Not that there's a lot to talk about. That'll probably be a very short stream. But I think we'll talk about the Riot MMO next week. We'll do a little Q&A, maybe some investigating and see if we can find any new information. Do that live on stream. Maybe I haven't done any digging recently on the Riot MMO stuff. Here it is. Here's the Riot. Well, here's the content creators. This is the devs. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, so Chimerix, one of the developers. Xenogenic left Riot. That we could talk about that. Another big developer leaves Riot. I do kind of wonder what's going on with that. I mean, you had Ghostcaller leave, and he's suddenly went from not being active at all on Twitter to very active. I do wonder if part of why he left is potentially because he is unhappy with them not wanting him to be active on Twitter and releasing little bits of info about the game. I wonder if that's part of it. It probably isn't. But, you never know with these things, man. I'm kind of curious about that. So let's talk about the Riot MMO next Sunday. Big change of pace from Throne and Liberty and Pax Day. Probably a standard theme park type MMO, but I don't mind those as well. I like a lot of variety in terms of gaming. I'm not like, it has to be theme park. It has to be sandbox. It can only be one or the other. I like a little bit of everything. So I don't mind theme park at all. It's the reason why it works. I mean, with theme park MMOs, they can tailor the experience very well, right? Yep, has to be good. That's the main thing. That is the main thing. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Next week, we'll talk about the Riot MMO, and I'm going to keep this Sunday stream thing going. I kind of like doing it. I knew we wouldn't get a lot of viewers this week because PAX Day, there's just very little interest at the moment about PAX Day, but it will improve over time. I'm sure of that. It's just a matter of time. And yeah, since we have a game to play, we'll play games on this Sunday stream instead. We'll play Throne and Liberty, hopefully soon, or maybe PAX Day. Maybe they'll let us play it without a NDA. That would be awesome. That, guys, I'm going to put up the ending soon screen, and we will see you guys next week. Hey, let's get, thank you, Jarrett. Let's get you one more Taz Devil. If you guys have not seen the Taz Devil yet, here it is. There it is, buddy. All right. Let's get stream ending put up, and let's stop me babbling. Go follow me on Twitter if you've not yet. All right, yeah, probably woke everybody up that you work with there, J-Rock. You're like, what just happened, man? What happened? I don't know what happened. Yeah, go over on Twitch. Eventually, I will not be on YouTube for streaming purposes, or I might. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. All right, guys. That'll do it for this stream. We'll see you next weekend for next week, Sunday, same time for the Riot MMO. See you guys there. Later.